I did get a lot of questions about something that I shared recently, which is a few procedures that I've done to my face. I got my lips done, like a quarter of a syringe, and I'm so happy. If it bothers you, fix it. In general, I mean, that's approach to anything really in life. Like, it's not that serious. Welcome back to Not Alone, a podcast where connection and curiosity come first. Listen, that line really hits home for me, but not today because I am a little bit hungover and I've also spent 12 hours at the airport waiting for a flight. So today's going to be a little rough one, but fun one. I got things to catch up on. So first of all, I came back from Nashville. We went for just a little weekend with my close girlfriends, Mary and Alex. And this was an outcome of them asking me what I want for my birthday. And I'm just going to put it out there because I feel like I fought with this for a long time. I don't like stuff. I try to like stuff. And I just don't like it. I don't want any gifts. I don't like physical stuff. I don't value them. But I'm also in a position where there's a lot of it around me. So maybe it's this combination of I know that I have everything that I need and I don't want any more because now it's giving me anxiety. You know what I mean? Too much of a good thing is not a good thing. Back to the story. I told them I want to go and do a memory. Like for me, I'm at this point in my life where I want to enjoy experiences together. I want us to explore different things together. And these are my two girlfriends where I can literally go to anywhere in the world. And I know that I'm going to have a profound experience because we just living together, just doing nothing together is so like it's that kind of friendship. So it was an immediate yes. And by the way, I'm at this point in my life where if it's not an immediate yes, then it's a no. I don't take time to think about things because why? It needs to be this immediate yes. Had an absolutely amazing time. Came back with so many things. Like after this podcast recording, I need to sit down and journal because I've come back with a lot of observation and a lot of gratitude to a lot of things. I think when you are in your 30s, there comes this time where although it's more difficult to make friends because we're so busy and we have so many priorities, it actually is easier to find the right kind of energy with other people because everyone is pretty aware of themselves at some point, or at least to an extent, you know, they're aware of where they're at in the puzzle. And I think it's easier to mesh and just kind of read the room. So we had an amazing experience. And then I came back and kind of went back into the swing of things. We are getting ready for very busy few months. It's holiday season. It's Art Basel coming up in Miami. Miami is really popping in terms of like events and people and activations, and just a lot of things are happening here. Now during this time, it's just you need to kind of find your balance and definitely practice saying no. Another event that was really special that I went to before I left to Nashville was A Seat at the Table, which was a dinner series that is hosted by Emma Grede. Emma Grede is a really impressive businesswoman, entrepreneur. She is the one, you probably heard of her as a co-founder for Skims. She also does Good American with Khloe Kardashian. So she works in partnerships with the Kardashian, built extremely impressive businesses, and has her own podcast, building her own personal brand. I just really love the way she approaches female entrepreneurship. I'm saying female entrepreneurship, but to me, it's just entrepreneurship as a whole. She kind of approaches it head on and very matter of fact, and just feels very comfortable talking about things that maybe female entrepreneurs don't necessarily feel comfortable. Like we have to push against our quote unquote nature or, you know, the way we've been taught to behave. So she very much goes against that. And I really appreciate that. She's a mother of 4 kids, just kind of going through life, just all of us trying to build something meaningful and make a difference. So part of making that difference is this series of dinners that she put together in a few different cities. I think it was 8 dinners around the US and some were in Europe, and brought together local women, and it was about 30 of us, I want to say, and it was so powerful to see how all this innovative energy kind of flowed in the room. Now, something that stuck out to me, because listen, we get to go to events and dinners all the time. Networking is a big part of being out there, putting yourself out there. And it's not a dirty word if it's done right. But what was unique about this specific experience that I left with was the fact that as we sat down, Emma stood up and she said, I'm so happy to have all of you here. All of you also kind of get together and meet each other because, again, being at this point in life where you're building companies, you're raising kids, and you're doing all these other things, it's sometimes you kind of work in a vacuum and in an echo chamber and don't really get an opportunity to connect in real life. So she said, obviously, this dinner, it's about that. But what I want this dinner also to be is for women to stand up, talk about your business, talk about what it is that you need. So an action, an ask that you have, and share it with this room. Because she said this room is a room of resources. And this is something that I think men do a really good job at, just even observing Gary and the way they work and talk and navigate that networking space is they're just stand up and ask for what they need. And there is no need to put any bells and whistles around it. There's no need to fluff, around it. And that was really cool. I thought that was a really powerful way to start the evening because as it started, each one of us stood up, shared kind of her story, what she's building, what's the vision, and we're all different. A lot of us are in the product business, CPG, like direct to consumer. Some of us are in the media business. Others are doing different things, already exited founders and entrepreneurs that are right now kind of want to be behind the scenes and, be more about their families. So a lot of variety of women out there. We just stood up and kind of shared the vision, and I didn't have an ask. I was just sharing kind of what we're doing with Creator Method, what we're doing with my personal brand, just the knowledge that we have in the space. And I said, for me, I'm happy to be used as a resource to anyone who is curious about this landscape. There were other founders that stood up and shared how they're right now getting acquired and they don't know if the deal that they're making is the right deal. So how can I use the resources in this room to understand if I'm doing things too fast or too slow? And you know what? I was thinking how just by doing that and saying it out loud, you then get people come to you and want to help you. And probably with just sharing one or two pieces of advice or some information, you are able to change the trajectory of so many people's lives. It starts with one person, but it trickles down to many others. So I very much left with this new understanding and action plan when it comes to the way I speak about my business and when I put myself out there and share things. Also learning how to just ask what it is that I need at this point in my career, because a lot of people want to help. So that was that. That was very inspiring, very special, and I definitely left with new knowledge and lessons. Just touched a little bit about what's been happening with me recently, but I also posted a Q&A. This is a Q&A kind of episode, and I did get a lot of questions about something that I shared recently, which is a few procedures that I've done to my face. And you know what? We can sit here and we can talk about all these really deep stuff and about entrepreneurship and la-di-da, and there's room and space for it. But let's also talk about this kind of shit, which is also important. I've recently shared that I got my lips done, which was something that was caught me off guard because I've always had very full lips that I got from my mom. Genetics is 10 out of 10 there. But I have noticed that in the past year, it started kind of getting a little bit uneven. It started to bother me. I don't know if you remember, but if you've been following me on social media, I've been through a year where I did not do any Botox. And that was not necessarily to make a statement Botox is bad or Botox is good. It's more about removing myself from the autopilot of it, of doing it, to understand how I connect to it. Like, why am I doing it? And what is my definition of beauty? I think that a lot of the times when we start doing all these procedures, a lot of it comes from a place of fear. A lot of it comes from a place of just, I need to do something because everyone else is doing it. There's a lot of unclarity, and then I think a lot of us make just bad decisions and don't know when to stop. So it was important to me to kind of reconnect with my why when it comes to touching my face and my approach to certain things that are out there now. I knew that I'm obviously reaching my the age of 35, and I'm just like, I want to make sure that I'm very aware where I'm at. So took a break. It was good. A lot of self-inquiry, learn a lot about what I find beautiful and what I don't. And then I went back to get my Botox done, and that felt good and made me just released me from unnecessary energy flowing into unnecessary parts. One thing I want to say that I love about my mom is that she always said, like, if it bothers you, fix it. In general, I mean, that's approach to anything really in life, but also in beauty. If it bothers you, fix it. Like, it's not that serious. That's kind of how I view things. So if something bothers me, I'll go and fix it. And going back to the lip situation, yes, it was annoying to me. So I went to this local girl here who is amazing, by the way. Amy Peterson is the office that I feel like a lot of locals here know, because she does a really good job with bringing in experts that truly understand the idea of balancing and enhancement rather than changing faces. And she gave me a little bit of lip filler, just a touch. I think it was like a quarter of a syringe. And I'm so happy. And I just moved on and forgot about it. It was interesting because, I'm always talking about transparency and kind of sharing those things with my community, because again, to me, I'm a girl's girl and I'm speaking to the girls, and I know the things that I would want to see and would like to know if I saw somebody that I respect do them. So I shared a reel kind of talking about it and the procedures that I've done, and there was obviously a lot of pushback, and that's okay too. If I'm being honest, I did not read a lot of the comments because I don't care. I'm busy. I got things to do. I did see a few that were kind of going out and protecting me in a way, or, standing up for me. But at the end of the day, you reach a point in your life where you're just like, if this bothers me, I'm going to fix it. And then I'm going to put that energy towards other things. So that was a big conversation. Another thing that I've done, and all of this, I feel like I've started doing late in life, like I'm 35. A lot of my friends started doing the Botox and all that stuff in their 20s. I really kind of pushed it to see, I don't want to do anything prematurely or before I felt like I was ready to do them. So the second procedure that I've done that was first of its kind for me was a laser. It was a BBL and Moxie. Living in Miami, it created a lot of, naturally I have freckles, but it started creating a lot of sunspots for me. I just noticed that although I have youthful features, I noticed that the quality of your skin and the pigmentation of your skin makes a huge difference. And I just started to feel like I'm kind of like blah looking. So I went to Amy. I said, Amy, I need something. And there's a lot of really harsh stuff out there. And I've done a lot of research before, asked a lot of different doctors, and I ended up doing the BBL and Moxie. And I am so happy. It feels like it just kind of sheds that layer of your skin that is just very stubbornly sitting on top and does nothing for you. That's really how it is. The recovery time is really not a big deal. It just feels like you've done a little bit too much time in the sun, and then it peels, it gets darker, and you feel it's kind of like it's falling off of you, the sunspot. So I need to do a couple of more rounds to really get it to do the biggest difference, but I already see it. I see it in the texture of my skin. I see it in the quality of my skin, and I definitely see that the pigmentation changed as well. So really happy about that. The next thing I am curious about is Renuva. And I don't have a lot of information about it because I'm right now just kind of, again, gathering a lot of information. But I'm just in general very impressed and curious about the aesthetic world, but from a place of regenerating or kind of like pushing your own body to produce things that slow down with time, like the collagen, like all these other things. And I'm curious about it aesthetically, but also talking about peptides in general. There's just like a lot of development and changes happening in the world of kind of women's health and women aesthetics and what aesthetics used to be compared to what they are now. So I'm keeping my finger on the pulse, and I will report and let you know. Something I forgot to mention about the lip filler, because there were a few questions about pain and discomfort. It wasn't really painful. They numb you, and then you use this little vibrator on your chest, and it kind of diverts the attention from when she injected, but it's really not a big deal. Also, again, if you do very, very, very little, it's not nothing crazy. The before and after, well, right after I got them done, they looked much larger. And I was actually a little bit nervous. And she said, they're right now swollen. It's going to go down. And now it went down and I absolutely love them. It just feels like the same lips that I had, just with a little bit of ding. I don't know what sound to make because we're in a podcast, but like just a little extra, just extra. And I love that. Okay, we are moving from the beauty procedure aspect. Like I told you, I'm going to keep you posted about anything else. But if you have any questions, you let me know. If you want me to bring my injector in, you let me know. Okay, you guys are driving the programming here. Okay, so next question on the Q&A was about update on the nose job. If I feel any stiffness, I mean, I feel like I have a working nose now, so that's a miracle. I actually don't remember how I looked like before this one, so it's just, I feel like I got my real nose back, which has been amazing. There was a question, do you think your lips and nose are working well together? Do you feel like you have a new face? No, not at all. I feel like I look like myself, but I can breathe now. There was another question regarding why I don't wear my engagement ring. And this was actually an interesting one because I haven't worn my engagement ring in a long time. I have a beautiful, beautiful ring that Gary got me and proposed me with. It's a princess cut, a beautiful, solid rock. The thing is that right now, in the phase that I'm in my life, I don't like to wear anything big or flashy. So I have my wedding band that I love, and then sometimes I'll add a little, this is like a vintage diamond ring, but just like small little things. I want it to be understated. So I guess it's just like a matter of taste, where I like it less. I have a friend that I was talking to, and I told her, I think it's beautiful. Just like a clean, beautiful gold ring, I think is so gorgeous. Maybe there's too many big ass diamonds around me, but I'm just like, I don't love it. I don't love it. Some girls rock it really well, but I don't love it. So that's the question to that. It's in the safe, looking beautiful and shiny. And when the time comes, I will take her out. Tips on how to connect better to your own body. So I've been talking, especially in the last solo episode, I was talking about this whole idea of why I got into like heels class, dancing, certain sensual activities that I feel bring me closer to connecting to my body, because so many everyday activities disconnect me from my body. So this is really the answer to that. Tips on how to connect is to find these activities that give you that opportunity. I love working out. I love doing weights, but it's not a flow. It's more kind of rigid. It connects me to my body in a different way. And I was looking for something where I don't have to think, and it can just like become a second nature to me. This is why I got into dance. And I think actually dance is a beautiful way to start there. I would just start there. I actually don't have a lot. Some people really connect with nature. I actually think that going for our hike in Nashville, surrounded by nature, felt very, very sensual. So anything that kind of puts you in there, and smut books, you guys. I'm going to repeat it over and over again. This is an easy way to like get into living in like a more activated state of mind. You know what I mean? Because something that I've realized that eroticism is so important for creative energy, and women truly lead with their creative energy. And I think most of the times we connect sensuality and eroticism to sex, and that has nothing to do with that. And it's just like part of such a bigger way that women feel more connected to their feminine is by making sure that we have a dose of that in the things that we do every day. So books, dance, and rock and roll, baby. Music is a great one. Which activities do you initiate with your girlfriends to spend quality? So it actually sometimes looks to me when I look at my Instagram like I'm always out, and honestly, I'm not. I've been very intentional with how I spend time with my friends. There are definitely non-negotiables in terms of like we have this is the end of the year, and every end of year we're doing vision board nights. So that's coming up, and that's kind of like set in the calendar once per year. Otherwise, trying to kind of sneak in dinners here and there. But this is why this trip to Nashville was so special, because it was truly like intentional carving of time for us just to be. It's not like a night out where you have to think about all the other responsibilities in the morning or before you go out. It was truly a way to pull ourselves out from this cycle of doing and really put us in a room where we can just be and share and talk without any pressure of time. So I think that's important. So it's really not about how often you do it. It's also the quality of it. And honestly, sometimes it's just they come over to the house and you guys just sit on the couch and have coffee, you know, that's also enough. So it really depends on where you at in the season that you're at, right? If you can leave the house, if you have kids or a job, like all these things that you need to do and take to consideration, that will also determine what kind of activities. I have started being the friend that will see what's going on in the city. Like I was the one who sent my girlfriends the heels class and I signed us up. There's an amazing like artist that's coming to town to play like underground. I bought us tickets. So it's kind of things like that, but I at this point very much value experiences with my friends and would gladly skip a dinner at a fancy restaurant to go and do something fun. The next question is kind of deep. Oh my God. What is something you do different if you could go back in time? I don't think I would do anything different at all. I think I did everything perfect. No, listen, I had a big realization this weekend, but also before I left to Nashville, I had Dr. Mindy Pelz, who I think is brilliant, and she wrote the book Fast Like a Girl, Age Like a Girl, and she's very much in the space of women's longevity and understanding of hormones. She was talking to me about the 3 different major shifts that happen in women's life. One is in puberty, another one is postpartum, and the third one is menopause. And it made me realize how we truly have these seasons in life that we need to know when to be in them and when it's time to transition. And one of the things that we do as women that hold us back is trying to push something that is ready to be let go of. You know what I mean? Like moving from puberty to postpartum and this kind of understanding that you are now in a season where you are nurturing and raising kids and doing all these things. You're very much building a home. That's a season. I feel like I'm in the season now. My kids are older. I'm in the season of enjoying kind of the fruits of my labor and the freedom that I have now that I didn't have before. And now I'm pouring back into myself. And that is going to lead me to this third big shift that's going to be menopause, where your brain is literally shifting to stop putting everybody's first and start putting yourself first. I feel like I'm doing now the groundwork of getting to that place. So when that does happen, it doesn't feel like the world is burning around me and everything is different. So I truly feel like I can't look back and do anything different because I did exactly what needed to be done. I'm actually very happy that I got married very early. I think that it worked for me so well for my personality because I was able to truly lean into my maiden era, you know, where I was sitting at home and I cared about putting together the household, taking care of Gary, and then, you know, having the children. It was a point and a season in my life where I did give everything to that space, to, you know, the family, to my husband. And now it kind of changed. And I'm also love seeing that and how that's changing. So I can't regret anything because it's just part of what needed to be done, I guess. This is the short answer to this question. But I'm still sitting with this idea of how magical kind of women's cycles are and how to learn to really let it flow and not resist, and also bring in science aspect into it, because a lot of things happen also on the chemical level, like in our brains. So I'm still kind of processing that. But that episode with Mindy, I know so many women, things will click for you, truly. can we hear more about therapy? So I spoke about me starting therapy. I had a couple of sessions. I have a wonderful therapist. I think that I unlocked and found words to a lot of the emotions that I was going through, and I'm looking forward to booking my next session, but I did take a break to just really kind of live in the moment and not analyze too much. I love therapy because you use it as you go. I didn't approach it from a place of I need to be fixed. I really came to it from a place of I want to make sure that I outsource a space for myself to share and to come to certain conclusions and have this unbiased opinion on certain things that I'm facing that I can no longer face myself. And that's exactly what it is. So I tap into it whenever I feel like, oh, I'm at my capacity. I need a little bit guidance or a new tool or a perspective. So I think another session is coming soon, but even that mindset around therapy has changed. That mindset actually helped me to really take the most out of therapy in general. Next question is how to keep the marriage alive when you're busy with work and kids. I think it's just like with anything else, there's ebbs and flows. There are times when you have to put all the attention on the kids. You have to put a lot of the attention on the work. And something that I actually appreciate about marriage is that there is no fear of, or at least I hope that's what people have, but there is no fear of losing someone if you are not constantly on top of it. And yes, marriage is work, but it also is a partnership. And at least what I value in my marriage is that I know and I can see and sense when Gary needs his own space, and it doesn't trigger me to start demanding attention from me. Like I know when to give him his space, and I think it's the same for me. He knows when to give me my space. I need to go away with my girlfriends. I'm going through a phase of like I need to be out and about and be around new people. He gives me the space and time to do that. And one of the things that keep the marriage alive is as long as you go back to each other, that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of that partnership. So it definitely is in today's time and age, it's difficult to prioritize accordingly, but this is where intuitively women are so advanced because you feel when it's time to go back to your partner. Like I actually now feel, funny that this question appeared, I feel like I need to now prioritize my connection with Gary because I just came off of a lot of alone time and trips and experiences, and it kind of got a little bit lost in the mix, but he's been patient and gracious, and now it's time for me to kind of shift the order back. And that to me is how you keep it alive. A lot of play, intuition, and grace. Next question is, how is your heart giving all the tension in the world? My heart is great. I think I was able to shrink my world and shut off a lot of the sources, the information sources that were coming at me. That's been very helpful. At the end of the day, I always go back to what I want to lead with, which is grace, love, joy. Like that to me is the blueprint of my life. And yes, there's a lot of darkness out there, but also going out there in the real world and like turning off your phone and go out and talk to people, you actually realize that there is a lot of that love, joy, kindness. There's a lot of great people. Another thing that really inspired me with this weekend trip, we went to Nashville, and being around people in real life and hearing their stories and just connecting on things were very different. Like I realized that I live in my own bubble. Everybody lives in their own bubbles, but through travel and going out and starting conversations, you actually realize how good the world is. And unfortunately, these little devices do not emphasize a lot of that emphasize the fear-mongering headlines. When I started actually talking, conversing, and connecting in real life, it made me more hopeful about the world. So that's my hack.
What's something, like a mentality you used to have when you were younger that you used to live by, but now at this age you realize that was actually like a bad, was holding you back. That's not an act, it wasn't actually helping you. Did you ever go through that as you were younger?
No. I'll tell you why. I never truly believed 100% that there is a right or wrong. And in a way that made life much harder because I wasn't moving with conviction. But now I realize that it also helped me to evolve faster because I didn't have to work so hard to break certain views of life. You know what they say? They say like the intelligent mind is not sure about anything, and then like the ignorant mind is sure about everything. You know what I mean? So it's this like balance I feel that people have, but I didn't grow up in that environment, so maybe that's why I didn't have that.
I was talking to one of my like best friends who I grew up with, and we both kind of grew up in that like survival type of like you're doing everything you can to survive.
Yeah.
We both kind of went through that where we used to think of like money in a certain way, or like getting out in a certain way, or like availability of opportunities in a certain way.
Yeah.
You try to like your best, like you have to be this way, you have to be this way. When you get older, I think also having kids, it kind of shifts where once you step into a more like, oh, the world's actually bigger, like things don't actually operate from a place of like scarcity.
Yeah.
And so it changed that way.
Oh, I think, no, that I had. I think I always believed that it has to be hard in order for it to be called success. You know, like money needs to be it's hard to make money. It's hard to do this. It's hard to be. So I think that shifted a lot for me. I actually think everything is so easy. It's like an energetic field that you create. So.
At what point did you get to that?
Like this year. What sparked it?
Because like when I got to that point,
yeah,
I'm still kind of going through it, but like
yeah,
I got to the point where I was like, no, there's actually like a lot of abundance.
Yeah.
Wasn't until like maybe when I got to Miami where I saw like things are a lot more accessible. But I also think it was because like you start crossing like goals off of your list and things like that. That's what sparked for me.
So to me, it was also Miami. I think Miami has a lot of abundance, and for some people it scares them. For other, it motivates them. I think the U.S. sparked it as well for me. There's a lot of abundance if you come from, a place where there's none, or people don't even feel comfortable talking about it. Like people talk about it here, and I think that's part of the magic here. I think that you at some point look around and you're like, I have everything I need, and everything else is like a bonus. So I think this is where kids and partnership, because at the end of the day, that's like the foundation for a happy life. And once you have that, you're no longer in this like coming from a place of lack. You come from a place of gratitude. That helps a lot, because even if I was now in my position with this career, but I didn't have Gary or the kids, I would have continued moving from a place like something is missing in my life. Like there's no necessarily purpose. Remind me to tell you the story how I converted somebody to Christianity this weekend. Guys, I had a time, let me tell you. Okay, all of these been amazing questions. I gotta be honest with you. I gave you my all today. I showed up with 67%, okay? Because I love you and because I wanted to chat. But the next one will be better. But thank you for sticking by me. I hope I answered some of these questions. I know that specifically the one around all the procedures was something that a lot of people are curious about. So let me know if you have any other questions about that. And you know what? Even leaving this Q&A, I'm going to sit down now and kind of make notes of the things I want to touch on and expand on, because we just kind of scratched the surface on some things. And you know me, surface is not good enough. So until next time, thank you guys for listening. If you don't follow us on YouTube, please do. And if you have, also on TikTok, of course. And if you have any idea for future episodes, leave it in the comments. Again, you are steering the ship here, okay? Love you. Okay, Dean, are you ready for my story? Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't miss my newest episode right here. And if you're listening to the podcast on Apple or Spotify, please go and leave a review with your biggest takeaway. I love reading your thoughts. They inspire me. So if you have any suggestions for guests or topics, you can leave them in the comment section. And always, always remember, you are not alone.